Welcome back. I'm Brandon, the HBAR Bull. I don't do any of this market commentary in an official capacity for the HBAR Foundation, so I wanted to make that clear. I'm just doing this on my own. I've seen something pop up in social media a few times, especially on Twitter, where people have called me a shill, and I just wanted to go through so everybody can make a judgment for themselves and let me know what they think. So first we'll take a look at the definition of a shill. A shill, also called a plant or a stooge, is a person who publicly helps or gives credibility to a person or organization without disclosing that they have a close relationship with said person or organization. Now, I tried to disclose that I am a contractor for the HBAR Foundation. Now, that just started a few months ago. Of course, I've been promoting Hedera for years. Back in the end of 2017, I learned about the hash graph algorithm. I thought that it had a lot of potential if they ever came out with a public network, which they did a few months later. In the beginning of 2018, they announced Hedera. I became an investor in SAFT 3 in August of that year. When it came out publicly and hit markets in 2019, September of 2019, I bought as it went all the way down to 1 cent, the HBAR that is, and I've been involved ever since. I've done videos, the bull case videos, I've done Hedera Forum for a long time, and the HBAR Foundation was nice enough just a few months ago to offer me this contractor role. Now, if shills want money, I took over a 60% pay cut to go from my previous career to come in and work full-time into this space. I enjoy it so much. I appreciate the HBAR Foundation giving me the shot. But if I'm trying to go after money, I took a pretty big hit there. So why did I move careers and come over to Hedera? Well, obviously, I'm pretty passionate about Hedera. I see tremendous potential in the network. Cryptocurrency in general. You guys might have heard me talk about this before, that I see it as a once in a multi-generational opportunity. And that's for a couple reasons. You know, we have these technological breakthroughs and revolutions every couple decades, you know, whether it's canals or railroads or automobiles, computers, the internet, and so forth. Well, what makes cryptocurrency a little bit different? It's absolutely one of those technological revolutions, but the other thing that people kind of get ahead of themselves or have historically when it comes to financial things is gold rushes, right? You'd have a prospector or a school teacher from Philadelphia, and they would decide they were going to go up and prospect for gold in the Klondike. You know, they have no business doing something like that, but gold was money at the time, and that made people get a little bit excited and a little bit ahead of themselves. Well, cryptocurrency at its heart is money. So when you take a technological revolution and you couple it with pretty much a digital gold rush, you get this once in a multi-generational opportunity. Well, I think Hedera has the most potential in this space. So that's the reason why I wanted to move into it. So my partner Jesse and I, we're still working together. He used to do the Hedera Forum with me. We're building in the background. We're building out an application that hopefully before too long we can go public with. And one of the reasons why I wanted to move over into this space was because I wanted to maintain all these connections with this fantastic community. And it would pay dividends in the long term having these connections. And that is actually paying off pretty well right now. All right, so the last thing I wanted to touch on is how I'm being compensated as a contractor for the HBAR Foundation. I had the option. I could get paid either in dollars, a mixture of dollars and HBAR, or an HBAR. Which one do you think I took? I decided to get paid completely in HBAR. And that wasn't to hit the market right now. I follow something called the Dynamic Investment Program. It's a way to invest that I developed years ago. And from a practical standpoint, the HBAR that I'm getting compensated with right now isn't going to hit the market for several years, if ever. So it just shows the dedication and the belief that I have in Hedera and the HBAR itself. So I'd like you to make your own conclusion if I'm a shill or not. I take a lot of pride in my integrity, and the information that I put out, I completely believe in 100%. You know, I put out the good with the bad. Of course, I lean a little bit more toward the good because there's plenty of people out there trying to FUD, and I think there's plenty of good things going on in the Hedera ecosystem. But with that out of the way, let's get into the HBAR market. All right, to start off, for some context, we'll take a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin had a pretty darn good week. It's up about 10% on the week, sitting at about 21,400 right now. The reason why I think crypto and other risk assets have had a fairly good week is because oil is continuing to go down, and it's being used as a bellwether pretty much for inflation. So the last time we were talking about oil and inflation was about 2 weeks ago, and oil was sitting at about $110 a barrel. It's come down even further. It's sitting below $105 a barrel. Over the past week, it actually dipped below $100 a barrel. So this is going to take some of the pressure off the Fed, who's trying to fight inflation, and they might not have to raise interest rates as aggressively as they were. And I think this is why risk assets like crypto have had a fairly good week. Besides that, we also got a good jobs report on Friday indicating that the economy is fairly healthy. Now that's kind of working the other way. That's going to push up inflation, and the indications that we're getting from oil could be that inflation is abating a little bit. As far as HBAR in particular, I would say we've been underperforming the rest of the crypto market. Over the past 7 days, we've gone up about 7.5%. Most of that gain has taken place over the last 12 hours or so, where we had a spike of about 5%. So not bad. We held support that we talked about before at around 6 cents. We did have one doji where we dropped below, but for the most part, we've been holding that 6 cent level. The next area of resistance that I'm going to be looking for is up around the Google spike high at around 8 cents. So if we do make a run, that's what I'm going to keep an eye on. As far as fundamental factors that could impact the HBAR market, I'm really interested to see when we get to Atmaio launching on the network. It should be coming this month, according to the town hall, which we just discussed over this past week. So once that transaction volume really starts to hit the market, I'm interested in the narrative that's going to build around that if we become clearly the number one transaction volume leader in the space, and especially with a real world use case that's value add outside of the crypto space. So that'll be interesting to see. All right, now for a quick stater staking update. We just had an AMA with their team, and it seems like they have a lot of good things in the works. Version 2 came out on June 28th, and so you can now send your HBAR X back to the smart contract, and they send you your HBAR back plus your rewards. HBAR X is now worth 1.11 HBAR per HBAR X. That means you've earned pretty much 11% on your HBAR if you were staking from the very beginning, starting back in April. The total value locked is sitting at 613 million HBAR. We thought that maybe when version 2 came out and you could unstake, that number would go down significantly. It really hasn't. And I think that has to do with the emissions rate being kept at 668,000 HBAR per day throughout the rest of July. And that's keeping our APY at about 40%. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about is some of the content we put out over the last week. Last weekend, we talked to Arca about how they value layer one networks. We talked to Silton Collymore on Tuesday. He's from Zimbabwe, and he has a new Oro DAO changing how we think about lending. We talked to Web23 on Wednesday. They have the new .hbar domains, so that one's a good one to catch. Talked to Zepsi on Thursday about the town hall and some of the hot topics that came out from that. And then just yesterday, we had May from Hashpack come over, and she gave a fantastic interview. Her insights on the crypto market are invaluable. And I also wanted to mention that the HBAR Foundation also has a channel. We put our AMAs on there and things like that, so certainly worth checking out. Thank you guys so much for coming out today. If you appreciate the content, throw me a like, subscribe, drop a comment down there. Tell me if I'm a shill. Either way, thank you so much, and we'll catch up with you next week.